I came home from grocery shopping on a Thursday afternoon to find my mother's car in my driveway. Then my sister's SUV. Then my brother's truck. All three vehicles, parked like they owned the place, blocking my usual spot. My stomach dropped before I even opened the door. Inside my Seattle home, the one my husband Nathan and I had saved for years to buy, chaos had erupted. My mother, Linda, was rearranging my living room furniture. My sister, Gabrielle, was unpacking boxes in my guest room. My brother, Troy, was setting up a gaming console on my TV. And my father, Robert, was sprawled on my couch like he'd lived there for years. "Oh good, you're here," my mother said brightly, not even looking up from moving my coffee table. "We were wondering when you'd get back. We need more hangers in the closet. Do you have extras?" I stood there, grocery bags still in my hands, completely frozen. What are you doing here?" My mother finally looked at me, eyebrows raised like I'd asked the stupidest question in the world. "Moving in, obviously. Didn't you get my text?" "No, I didn't get." "Well, I sent it. Our lease was up, and it didn't make sense to renew when you have this big house with all these empty rooms. It's perfect timing, really. Gabrielle's going through her divorce, Troy lost his job, and your father and I are tired of paying Seattle rent prices. This works out for everyone. You can't just move into my house." "Claire, don't be dramatic," my father interjected without looking away from the TV, where he was already watching sports on my streaming account. "It's temporary. Just until we all get back on our feet. A few months, maybe a year. You and Nathan are always gone for work anyway. You won't even notice we're here. A few months. Maybe a year." They hadn't asked. They'd just decided. "Does Nathan know about this?" I managed to ask, my voice barely steady. "We'll tell him when he gets back from his business trip," my mother said, waving her hand dismissively. "He's such a sweet man. He'll understand. Family helps family, Claire. That's what we do." I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw them all out right then. But the old programming kicked in, the decades of being told I was selfish, difficult, ungrateful whenever I said no to them. So instead, I just stood there, watching them colonize my home. My name is Claire Morrison, and if you're watching this, stay with me. Because what started as a temporary family visit became a hostile takeover of everything I'd built. And the moment my husband walked through that door after his business trip, everything changed. But first, you need to understand how we got here. I was raised to accommodate. To make space. To shrink myself so others could expand. My mother, Linda, ruled our childhood home with guilt and manipulation disguised as maternal love. Everything was about keeping the peace, which really meant giving her whatever she wanted. My father, Robert, was her enabler, too passive to ever contradict her, too comfortable to ever take responsibility for anything. Then there was Gabrielle, 3 years older than me, the dramatic one. Everything was always a crisis with her. Every boyfriend breakup, every job she quit, every impulsive decision that blew up in her face became our family emergency. And every time, I was expected to help clean up the mess. Troy, 2 years younger than me, was the baby. The one who never had to grow up. At 32, he'd never held a job longer than 8 months, never paid rent on time, never taken responsibility for anything. And why would he? Mom always swooped in to save him. And me? I was the responsible one. The peacekeeper. The one who always had her life together, so I was the one who could handle more burden. More responsibility. More sacrifice. I met Nathan when I was 26. He was different from anyone in my family. Stable, kind, ambitious. He worked as a software architect, made good money, and actually had his life together. He treated me like a partner, not a project or a problem to solve. When we got engaged, my family's reaction was telling. My mother cried, but not happy tears. "You're abandoning us," she said. "You're choosing him over your family." "I'm not choosing anyone over anyone," I'd said. I'm getting married. That's normal. Normal for selfish people, she'd shot back. But I married him anyway. And for the first time in my life, I had a home that was mine. A space where I didn't have to manage everyone else's emotions. Where I could just breathe. Nathan and I bought a house in the Northgate neighborhood of Seattle. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a small backyard. It wasn't huge, but it was ours. Every piece of furniture, every paint color, every decision was something we made together. For 3 years, it was perfect. We hosted friends. We had quiet weekends. We built a life. And then my family decided it was theirs too. The first night they moved in was surreal. I made the grocery bags I'd been holding for 20 minutes into the kitchen, putting away food in a refrigerator that was now crammed with items I didn't buy. My mother had already reorganized my pantry, moving everything I'd carefully arranged. "I hope you don't mind," she said, appearing behind me. "Your system didn't make any sense." I fixed it. I minded. I minded so much I could barely speak. Nathan was in Tokyo for a tech conference. He wouldn't be back for 5 more days. 5 days of this nightmare before I could even talk to him about it. That night, I tried calling him. It was 3 a.m. his time, but I was desperate. It went to voicemail. I texted, "Call me when you can. It's important." He responded 2 hours later, "In meetings all day. Everything okay? Miss you." How could I explain this over text? How could I tell him that our home had been invaded, that my entire family had moved in without permission, that I'd been too shocked and conditioned to stop them? Nathan's flight landed at 6 p.m. on Thursday. He texted me from the airport, on my way home. "Don't engage with them. I'll handle it." I was in the kitchen, once again cooking dinner for 5 people because my mother had politely requested a proper meal. The kitchen was a disaster. They'd used every pot and pan I owned over the past week and left them all dirty. I'd spent an hour just doing dishes before I could even start cooking. My mother was in the living room, talking loudly on the phone about how generous I was being to let them stay. How it was the least I could do, after everything they'd done for me growing up. Gabrielle was taking a bubble bath in my master bathroom. She'd been in there for an hour and a half, using my expensive bath products like they were from the dollar store. Troy was in the guest room, excuse me, his room now, yelling at people through his gaming headset. My father was taking another endless shower in the hall bathroom. The house felt suffocating. Like the walls were closing in. Like I couldn't breathe in my own space. And then I heard the front door open. Nathan walked in. He stood in the entryway, taking in the scene. The displaced furniture. The mess. The boxes still half unpacked in corners. The stranger's belongings scattered everywhere. My mother looked up from her phone call. "Oh. You must be Nathan. Claire's told us so much about you. Welcome home. We're just getting settled in. I hope you don't mind that we..." "Everyone out," Nathan said quietly. The room went silent. Even through the closed bathroom doors, the showers seemed to stop. "I'm sorry," my mother said, her voice taking on that dangerous edge I knew so well. The one that meant someone was about to get guilt-tripped into submission. I said, "Everyone out. This is my house. Mine and Claire's. You weren't invited. You weren't asked. You just took over. And now you're leaving." My mother stood up, drawing herself to her full height. "Now you listen here, young man. This is my daughter's house, and if she wants to help her family..." "It's our house," Nathan interrupted, his voice still calm but with steel underneath. "Both our names are on the deed. And I'm telling you, get your things and leave. Tonight. You can't just throw us out." Gabrielle emerged from the bathroom, wrapped in my bathrobe, face red with indignation. "We have nowhere to go. That's not my problem or my wife's problem. You're adults. Figure it out." "Nathan," my father started, coming down the hallway. No. Nathan held up his hand. I don't want to hear excuses. I don't want to hear about how Claire should help family. I don't want to hear anything except we're packing and we're leaving. My mother's eyes filled with tears. The manipulation tactic she'd used on me my entire life. Claire, are you really going to let him talk to your mother this way? Are you going to let him throw your own family out on the street? All eyes turned to me. This was the moment. The moment I'd been avoiding my entire life. The moment where I had to choose. And I chose myself. Yes, I said, my voice shaking but clear. I am. Because you didn't ask to stay here. You just moved in like you owned the place. You took over my home, my space, my life. And I'm done. After everything we've done for you, my mother's voice rose, the tears gone, replaced by fury. After we raised you? Fed you? Clothed you? This is how you repay us? You did the bare minimum legal requirements of parenting, I said, Nathan's presence beside me giving me strength I'd never had before. And I've been repaying you my entire adult life. Every time Gabrielle needed money, I sent it. Every time Troy needed a place to crash, I let him stay. Every time you needed help, I was there. But this? This is too far. We're your family. Gabrielle shouted. Then act like it, Nathan said. Family doesn't invade. Family doesn't take without asking. Family doesn't manipulate and guilt and demand. So either you're family and you respect our boundaries, or you're trespassers. Which is it? The silence was deafening. My mother looked at me with an expression I'd never seen before. Like she was seeing a stranger. Like she couldn't believe her compliant daughter had finally grown a spine. Fine, she said coldly. We'll leave. But don't come crying to us when you need something. Don't expect us to be there for your future kids. Don't expect us to be at your holidays. You've made your choice, Claire. You've chosen him over us. No, I said, voice steady now. I've chosen me over being your doormat. They packed. It took 3 hours. 3 hours of passive-aggressive comments, slamming doors, guilt-tripping, and martyr speeches about how ungrateful and selfish I was. Nathan stayed by my side the entire time. When my father tried to intimidate him, Nathan didn't budge. When Gabrielle tried to make me feel guilty about her divorce, Nathan redirected her. When Troy tried to stall, claiming he needed just a few more days, Nathan handed him a box and pointed at the door. By 11 p.m., they were gone. The house was a disaster. It would take days to clean up. Weeks to reorganize. Months to feel truly like mine again. But as I stood in the middle of my destroyed living room, Nathan's arms around me, I felt something I hadn't felt in a week. Free. Thank you, I whispered. You don't have to thank me, Nathan said. This is what partners do. We protect each other. We stand up for each other. And we don't let anyone, not even family, abuse the people we love. That night, we didn't clean up. We didn't fix anything. We just sat on our stained, displaced couch, ordering takeout, and reclaiming our space with our presence. My phone started buzzing around midnight. Texts from my mother. From Gabrielle. From extended family who'd already heard their version of the story. All of them telling me what a horrible daughter I was. What a terrible sister. How I'd abandoned my family in their time of need. I blocked them all. Every single one. Because I was done. Done explaining. Done defending. Done carrying guilt that wasn't mine to carry. What if they show up again? I asked Nathan. He smiled. Not a happy smile. A determined one. Then we call the police and have them trespassed. They don't get to do this again. And as I fell asleep that night in my own bed, in my own room, in my own house, I realized something profound. The moment Nathan walked through that door, everything had changed. Not because he'd saved me, but because he'd shown me I was worth saving. That my boundaries mattered. That my home mattered. That I mattered. My name is Claire Morrison. And the family that thought they could take over my life just learned the hardest lesson of theirs. You can invade someone's space, but you can't break someone who has a partner who sees their worth. The war wasn't over. I knew that. They'd be back with more manipulation, more guilt, more attempts to make me the villain. But for the first time in my life, I was ready for them. Because I wasn't alone anymore. And I wasn't the scared, compliant daughter they'd conditioned me to be. I was a woman with boundaries. A woman with a partner who respected those boundaries. A woman who'd finally learned that saying no wasn't cruel. It was survival. And I was done just surviving. I was ready to thrive. The morning after they left, I woke up to silence. Real silence. No Troy's snoring from the couch. No my father's hour-long shower. No my mother's passive-aggressive commentary about how I organized my kitchen. Just peace. Nathan was already up, coffee made, sitting at our kitchen table with his laptop. He looked up when I came in and smiled. "Good morning, my brave wife." I wasn't sure about brave. I felt shaky, anxious, waiting for the other shoe to drop. But I smiled back. "Thank you for last night. For standing up when I couldn't." "You did stand up," he said. "I just stood beside you. There's a difference." My phone had 37 missed calls. 23 text messages. 4 voicemails. All from family members I'd blocked, now trying different numbers, different approaches. I showed Nathan. He read through a few messages, his expression darkening. "Your aunt says you've broken your mother's heart and should be ashamed." "That's Aunt Teresa. She's always been Mom's flying monkey." "Your cousin says family is forever and you're destroying it over a little inconvenience." "A little inconvenience," I repeated, almost laughing. "They moved into our house without permission." "Block them all," Nathan said simply. "Every single one who sends a guilt message. Every single one who tries to manipulate you. Just block them." So I did. One by one, I watched the names disappear from my contacts. With each block, I felt lighter. By noon, we'd started the cleanup. The house was worse than I'd realized. My mother had reorganized every closet, every drawer, every cabinet, and not well. Things were just shoved in randomly. My expensive dishes were chipped from careless handling. My bathroom products were nearly empty. In the guest room that Gabrielle had claimed, I found damage. A burn mark on the dresser from a curling iron. Red wine stained into the carpet. Makeup smeared on the wall. "They destroyed it," I whispered. "They destroyed it," Nathan agreed. "And they won't pay for repairs. So we document everything, and we never let them back in. Ever." We spent the weekend reclaiming our space. We deep cleaned every room. We rearranged furniture back to how we liked it. We threw away the food they'd left, half-eaten containers, expired items they'd bought and abandoned. Nathan changed all the locks on Monday morning. He installed a Ring doorbell camera. He even added a security system. "Isn't this overkill?" I asked. "After what they did?" "No. This is protecting our peace." He was right. Because on Tuesday afternoon, while I was at work, my mother showed up. I got the Ring notification on my phone. I watched her press the doorbell repeatedly. When no one answered, she tried her key. The one that no longer worked. She stood there for 5 minutes, trying the key multiple times, confusion turning to anger on her face. Then she started pounding on the door. My phone rang. A number I didn't recognize. I didn't answer. A voicemail: "Claire, this is your mother. I'm at your house and my key doesn't work. This is ridiculous. Open the door right now. We need to talk about your disrespectful behavior." I forwarded the video and voicemail to Nathan. His response: "Don't engage. Let her realize no one's home." If she doesn't leave in 10 minutes, I'm calling the police. She left after 12 minutes, but not before leaving a note taped to the door. We raised you better than this. Call me immediately. I threw the note away. That night, my brother Troy called from yet another number. I made the mistake of answering. Claire, what the hell? You changed the locks? Are you serious right now? Troy, you moved into my house without permission. What did you expect? I expected my sister not to be a complete witch about helping family. Do you have any idea where we all had to go? Mom and Dad are staying in some crappy motel. Gabrielle's sleeping on a friend's couch. I'm literally living in my truck. You're living in your truck because you lost your job and haven't paid rent in 2 years. That's not my fault. You could help me. You have money. You have space. I had space. Then you invaded it, disrespected it, and destroyed parts of it. You burned that bridge, Troy. You're really going to do this? You're going to let your own family be homeless? You're not homeless. You're experiencing the consequences of your own choices. There's a difference. Mom was right about you. Nathan's turned you into someone cold. Someone we don't even recognize. Good, I said. Maybe the person you don't recognize actually has a spine. I hung up. Blocked the number. Nathan had heard the whole conversation from the other room. He came in and just held me while I cried. Not sad tears. Angry tears. Relief tears. Grief tears for the family I'd thought I had but never really did. The harassment escalated over the next week. My mother showed up at my work. Actually walked into my office building, got past security by saying she was my mother visiting with lunch, and cornered me at my desk. This has gone far enough, she hissed, keeping her voice low so my coworkers wouldn't hear. You're going to apologize, you're going to let us back in, and we're going to pretend this ugly incident never happened. No, I said simply. Excuse me? I said no. You invaded my home. You disrespected my marriage. You damaged my property. And you're not welcome back. Ever. I'm your mother. Then act like one. Mothers don't take advantage of their daughters. They don't guilt them into submission. They don't show up at their workplace to harass them. She stared at me like I'd slapped her. You've changed. That man has poisoned you against your own family. Nathan didn't poison me. He just helped me see what you've been doing my whole life. And I'm done with it. If you don't let us back in, you're dead to me. Do you understand? Dead. To me. Okay, I said calmly. I can live with that. She left. But not before causing a scene in the hallway loud enough that my boss came out to check if I was okay. I filed a trespass notice with building security. My mother's photo was now flagged in their system. She wouldn't be allowed in again. That weekend, Gabrielle tried a different approach. She showed up with her kids, my niece and nephew, ages 7 and 5. Kids I loved, kids who'd been used as emotional weapons before. The Ring doorbell caught it all. Aunt Claire, the kids called out, waving at the camera. Mommy says you don't love us anymore. Gabrielle stood behind them, face set in fake sadness. Claire, if you're watching, please. The kids miss you. They don't understand why you're being this way. Don't punish them for adult problems. It was manipulation. Pure manipulation. Using innocent children as pawns. But I didn't open the door. Instead, I called Gabrielle directly. Using your kids to guilt me is a new low, even for you. I'm not using them. They genuinely miss you. They're confused why their aunt suddenly hates them. I don't hate them. I love them. But I'm not going to be manipulated by you using them as props. If you want them to see me, we can arrange supervised visits in public places. They are not coming inside my house, and neither are you. You're unbelievable. You know that? You're choosing property over people. A house over your own family. No, Gabrielle. I'm choosing boundaries over abuse. There's a difference. And until you can respect my boundaries, we have nothing to talk about. The kids are crying right now because of you. The kids are crying because you told them lies about me and dragged them to my house as manipulation tools. That's on you, not me. I hung up. Nathan had watched the whole ring video. That was hard, he said. The hardest thing I've ever done, I admitted. Those kids don't deserve this. No, they don't. But you staying strong in your boundaries is actually the best thing for them long term. You're showing them that it's okay to say no. That boundaries are healthy. Even if they can't understand it now, they will someday. I hoped he was right. The family group chat that I'd been removed from was apparently on fire with stories about my cruelty. I knew because my cousin Jennifer, the one decent relative I had, screenshotted it and sent it to me. You should see what they're saying, Jennifer wrote. It's insane. They've completely rewritten history. Making themselves the victims. I tried defending you but got kicked out of the chat too. The screenshots were unbelievable. My mother claimed she'd asked politely to stay a few days and I'd violently thrown them out in the middle of the night. Gabrielle said I'd always been jealous of her and was punishing her for being pretty. Troy said Nathan was controlling and abusive and had brainwashed me. None of it was true. All of it was designed to turn the family against me. I thought about it for days. Finally, I responded, I appreciate you reaching out. I'm not ready to talk yet. I'm still processing everything that happened. If and when I'm ready, I'll let you know. In the meantime, I need you to respect my boundaries. That means no showing up unannounced. No contacting me at work. No using other family members to get messages to me. If you can respect those boundaries, maybe we can work toward a conversation in the future. If you can't, then we have nothing to discuss. I hit send before I could second guess myself. Her response came 3 hours later, I understand. I'll wait. I love you. It wasn't perfect. But it was a start. A possibility. A maybe. I'm not letting her back in, I told Nathan. Not into the house. Probably not into my life, at least not like before. But maybe, eventually, we can have some kind of relationship. On my terms. With my boundaries. And if she violates those boundaries? Then she's out. Permanently. No second chances. Nathan kissed my forehead. I'm proud of you. This whole thing has been impossible, and you've handled it with more grace than most people would. I didn't feel graceful. I felt like I was drowning. You were drowning. But you swam anyway. That's what makes you brave. 6 months after the eviction, life had returned to normal. Better than normal. Our house was peaceful. Our marriage was stronger. I'd started setting boundaries in other areas of my life too, at work, with friends, with myself. I'd learned that saying no wasn't cruel. It was honest. It was healthy. It was necessary. I'd learned that family doesn't mean unlimited access to your life, your home, your peace. I'd learned that the people who love you will respect your boundaries. The people who don't respect your boundaries don't really love you, they love what you can do for them. And I'd learned that having a partner who stands beside you, who sees your worth, who protects your peace, that's worth more than 1,000 family members who only see you as a resource. My name is Claire Morrison. And the family that tried to take over my home learned that some invasions have permanent consequences. They lost access to me, to my home, to my life, not because I was cruel, but because they were. And the woman they tried to control became someone they couldn't recognize. Someone with boundaries. Someone with a voice. Someone who finally understood that protecting your peace isn't selfish. It's survival. And I've never been more at peace.